welcome to the Chelsea Skidmore Show. I'm here today with my guest, actor Jerry O'Connell.
Actor Jerry O'Connell. Chelsea, what is up? I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I love your outfit, all white. I love all white in December in California.
Yeah, I guess I do go a little summery. These pants are lighter khakis that I'm currently wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're allowed to do it in LA.
Yeah, you are.
Do you wear white shoes?
I am right now.
Yeah, but I mean, would you wear, those are sneakers? Let me just describe the scene for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Chelsea's wearing a pair of Superga shoes. Superga shoes. Sorry about my pronunciation. Chelsea, I should say this. My image of you is that you are one of the coolest people in Los Angeles. I always remember you driving an older model, I think they're called SL Mercedes convertibles, right?
Oh my God. Yes. First of all, I'm sweating.
Do you still drive that older model SL Mercedes convertible? By the way, from the 80s.
It wasn't. It was 2003.
It was a 2003?
And I love that you took note of that.
Well, it was just so cool.
Thank you. I love that car. I wish I still had it, but it was just too old and it got messed up. And
it's so funny living in Los Angeles, living anywhere, especially in car towns, you're judged by your car.
Yeah.
And so in LA currently, that new smaller Tesla seems to be the one that all the cool people have. I don't have that car.
What do you have?
I took a note from you. I drive a 1987 Jaguar.
No, yeah. Do you really?
Yeah.
Is it a convertible?
It is not a convertible because I'm a little afraid of the rays. I'm significantly older than you, and I'm aging at a rapid pace. And
you look good.
It's Botox head to toe.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Have you ever gotten it?
I haven't, but I'm not against it.
I got it.
No.
Yeah.
You're a child. What?
Well, people say it's preventative.
Where did you get it?
Where?
Yeah.
On my forehead. Well, I got it for my wedding because I wanted it to look, super good and smooth. And then I got it a little bit thereafter. But I don't love it. I don't think it's that good for stand-up because people can't tell how I feel about what I'm saying because my forehead is kind of frozen.
Sure.
Yeah, I have a very I didn't notice how expressive my face was until after I got it and I couldn't move it.
If it makes you feeling better, I had no clue that you got any sort of fillers.
Thank you.
I
love
you know
fillers.
what? I've been starting to notice I am an actor, as you said in my introduction, Jerry O'Connell. But I've been starting to notice on camera I'm looking older.
Mm-hmm. With the HD?
I don't even know if it's with the high definition. I think it's just more the fact that I'm in my mid-40s and I'm looking older. And
you look great.
I was thinking maybe I should go get it.
It's fun.
But it's so crazy because I have such a addictive personality. Am I going to end up looking like Cat Lady?
It is extremely addictive. I have a girlfriend who does a lot of fillers and
it looks crazy.
I mean, she does it every 2 months, like on the dot, and she does look like a different person now.
We touched briefly on your wedding, which I followed very closely on social media. For those who aren't currently right now, you should follow Chelsea Skidmore on Instagram at Chelsea Skidmore.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Your wedding was, I believe, at the Madonna Inn.
It was. Have you been?
So now I have been to the Madonna Inn. I stayed in the Sky Room, I believe, the Cloud Room.
Is that with the stairs? Does that have a second floor with stairs up to like a lookout?
Yes.
I'm very familiar with all the rooms.
And for those who don't know, it's up the 101. It is an older motel, a roadside hotel, a motel, a motor hotel, a motel that the brief history of it is it was a rancher's motel. This rancher named something Madonna owned the ranch.
Alex Madonna.
And I'm paraphrasing here. I just read it on the wall at the bathroom.
I'm very impressed right now. Please continue.
The wife of this rancher said, and I'm giving her this accent, I don't think she spoke like this. You gonna do your ranch stuff. I'm gonna take care of this motel. And she went around, and each room had a very different theme to it. One room is the Sky Room, which I stayed in. You, I believe, spent your first night as a married woman in the Cave Room.
I've been to the Cave Rooms before, which are my favorites, but we got the Austrian suite because it was the biggest one and we needed.
Austrian suite. So that's where your husband made an honest woman out of you.
Yeah.
And
First time I had sex.
Me too. I waited until I was married. It felt so good.
Yeah.
It's why they write all those songs about it. I
was like,
amazing.
Oh, I know how to do this.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah. So I love it there. I love it because like it's very odd, and the cafe, it's totally like a David Lynch kind of place. You know what I mean?
The
cafe.
Have to say, I have one time my wife asked me how many people I had slept with before.
Was this early on when you were dating?
We were dating, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know it was this casual, but it's like, what's your number? I didn't even know that it was like a number. Like, that's what they call it, like a number. Did you know that?
There was a movie around that.
Really?
Wasn't there?
I guess so. Anyway, someone was like, what's your number? And I was like,
I don't know.
0. 1. You're my first.
Uh-huh.
I'm waiting until marriage.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sticking to that story.
That's so funny.
It's been my story ever since. That's it. 1. That's it.
That's
0.
smart.
Yeah.
Did she ever know anyone that you had dated before?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think personally. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, I know.
One time someone did say, "Did you really save yourself for marriage?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Someone really thought you were serious?
I was like, "Yeah, of course. Yeah." 100%.
And they believed you?
Well, it's the truth, Chelsea.
Well, you just have to explain it to me like you thought that people were starting to believe it.
No, but it is a really funny
We didn't even
joke.
have sex the night that we got married.
You know, I have to tell you, I think there's a lot of pressure to do that.
Yeah.
And I've only been married once, but there was a lot of pressure to do that, obviously, because it's like an important night, and it's almost like I guess it's got like prom night, like pressure to it.
Do you remember?
On prom?
No.
On our wedding night?
Yeah. It's like you're so exhausted.
I got to tell you, I don't think we had physical relations on our wedding night.
Yeah.
We've been married coming up on 12 years. Mm-hmm. We've done it like once or twice since then. Mm-hmm. That's a joke.
Who, by the way, your wife is absolutely
My
gorgeous.
wife's name is Rebecca Romaine. You can follow her on social media at Rebecca Romaine, / Chelsea Skidmore. No, there's no backslash.
How did you guys meet?
We met on Christian Mingle.
No, you didn't. Oh my God. Which is why you were both virgins.
We met on farmersonly.com.
Oh, okay.
We met at a party. Mm-hmm. This is pretty cheesy. We met at a Maxim Hot 100 party. Ooh. Do you remember that magazine?
Yeah. Because she was probably a Maxim model.
She was a Maxim. She was on the Maxim list. And I went to the party, and she was in the VIP. My wife was in the VIP area, and I was not. And I had met her once before, when my wife was previously married, and I like waved furiously at her, and she sort of came up, and the bouncer was like, "Is he with you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I forced myself into the VIP area, and then afterwards, she was on a date with another dude.
Oh, that night.
Yes. And her friend, when I was leaving, I was like, all right, that was fun. And like, I brought my A game, you know, we sat down. I was, you can't tell from this podcast, but I was like being funny and charming and stuff. And, her friend said to me as I was leaving, hey, take her phone number. And I was like, well, she's with an older guy. And her friend was like, no, just call her. Trust me. And I called her. And it's funny, it was on, and it just never went off, you know?
Aww.
It's funny, I'd been in a couple of, I guess, relationships, you know? But I guess it was on for a second, but then it was like not on, you know what I'm saying?
With the other girls.
With other relationships. Yeah. Like it's on maybe for a minute, and then for whatever reason, it's not on, you know, like
you got bored sort of thing, or?
It's not that I got bored. I don't want to say bored because that's got a negative connotation to it. I want to say like, it's like, I just like, it was like, I'm going to not hang out with you. I'm going to go hang out with these people. It's not because I'm bored of you. It's just that I'm going to go do this.
What was your longest relationship beforehand?
I guess 1.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty long. What was your longest relationship before you got married?
6 years off and on.
6 years.
Yeah, but it was off and on because I was moving. I I went to college in Hawaii. I met him there, and then I moved back to New York, and it was back and forth. But probably 3 years before that.
Can I tell you a crazy story?
Yeah.
I have children now. I'm much older than you. We've already established that. Jerry O'Connell. You can follow me on Instagram. And
at
on,
Mr. Jerry OC.
At Mr. Jerry OC, yeah. By the way, I do throw out a lot of likes. I like every photo that you post, Chelsea.
I appreciate that.
Very,
you're a generous liker.
Generous.
You gotta have a couple of those.
I loved following your wedding. We'll get back to that.
Thank
in a second.
you.
We're really bouncing,
and I love bouncing all over the place.
But you and your husband are very photogenic, and you're. I mean, it's gonna make me sound old. I was gonna say you're hipsters, but you're like people in like a imported beer commercial. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know when you see the Stella or Artois, I can't even say it. That's how cool the beer is. When you see those Stella Artois commercials, and we're all seeing them now during the holidays, but like it's usually at a party and everyone at the party, and like I always look at those commercials and I think, how do I get to that Stella or Artois? I can't even say it.
You have one of those relationships.
But you and your husband look like you're like at that Stella.
Well, that's a new compliment. Thank you.
Party.
I like it.
And like that's a cool beer. It's not even like I'm not saying it's like a Michelob.
No, I mean we're definitely not a Bud Light couple. Stella.
What? My wife and I are a Bud Light lime couple.
And I'll one up you. You're a Peroni couple. Would that be better?
Oh man, you're really chopping. We're more of an IPA from the Pacific Northwest. No, I'm going to tell you a story that we were just talking about, and I can't believe I'm bringing it back around. But I have children. We established I'm much older than you. I had to pick them up last week. They were in a production of Mary Poppins.
Oh.
And I had to pick them up every day at 3 p.m. to take them to rehearsal for this production of Mary Poppins. And I had to pass the local high school where we live at 3 p.m. I'm normally never there at 3 p.m. My kids go to an after-school program, so I pick them up at 5. But I was suddenly, for 5 days, pulling outside of this high school that was getting out every day at 3 p.m., which was a little annoying to me because I had to wait for traffic and it was just sitting in traffic. But that's fine. I'm a patient person. But I'd start to see the same high school students coming out every day. And like everyone's coming out, everyone's looking like they're having fun. You know, the kids these days, they seem with it. Everybody's woke. Really proud of them.
And you're in a cool car.
I'm in an 87 Jag because I took a page from you. I swear to you, Chelsea, you really inspired me to get like an older 80s car. You really did.
My car is 2003. Did Mercedes, I actually inspire you? Yeah.
You really inspired me.
It just looked like shit, I guess.
I swear to you. Listen, I got to get to the point of my story. But there was always this one couple at high school, guy and a girl, who would walk out walking hand in hand past me. And I would watch them every day, all last week, all 5 days. And it looked like it was not fun. They were like holding, like they weren't like talking, and like all the other kids were like coming out of school and like, yeah, selfie, posted, how many likes? Yeah, oh man, can't wait to see Panic at the Disco. I don't know if that made me sound old, but whatever. And like this couple who was in obviously like a high school relationship that I yearned to be in. I mean, we all wanted a girlfriend or boyfriend in high school. Just would like sadly like hand in hand like walk up the street and like probably go into each other's house to go make out or do God knows what. And I was like, man, thank God I was not in one of those. It's so funny. I so yearned to be in a relationship my entire youth, you know, everywhere. I just wanted a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I wanted, honestly, constant physical companionship is really what I wanted, you know? And I was like, thank God I was never in. Those people that looks terrible to me. I'm sorry if that's making me sound like the couple's
You mean
Grinch.
They just didn't look like they were having fun?
It looked like there was no fun. Like they have to walk hand in hand after school every day. They have to walk to each other's house. They can't be like, yo, you know what? I'm going to go with these guys because we're going to make a video and post it up to YouTube. Okay, I'll see you later. I love you. Bye. There was none of that. It's like they have to they have to do this. And there was almost like a pressure of being in like a young couple that I was sort of happy. I was like really never in one of those. And it's so funny. It was sort of like an adult epiphany. It's not that I didn't want to be in one of. It's not that I was like, I'm never going to be in a relationship. I'm going to be a wild stallion and a free spirit, and I'm going to roam with the other stallions in the fields. It's just it just wasn't boyfriend material. It just never happened, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it's just funny. We were talking about like being in longer relationships. I just was never in one because I just didn't know how to do it. I mean, I just didn't know how to do it.
Did you find yourself waiting to showing up every day on that time to see if they started having fun?
No,
you said you saw them.
I don't want to. I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like I was stalking I know. Kids. You know, I would wait for them every day with my binoculars, and then I would videotape them. I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a character I'm playing right now. It's a joke. No, I would happen to see them. I would forget about them pretty much all day, and then I'd see them, and it was just making me think about like youthful, longer relationships. That said, I never experienced the apps, man.
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience apps?
A little. I did have Raya. I had Tinder.
Whoa. Just explain.
Okay.
To everyone what Raya is. Yeah.
Raya is an exclusive dating app for, I'd say it's mostly for industry people or if you're friends with someone who works for the app. Because it's changed a lot. When I first got it, it's when it first came out. And it was pretty much just like all celebrities or and like hot model girls or.
Please don't name anyone.
I'm not naming anyone.
Don't. I'm not asking you to.
I've gone out with 2 guys from Raya. One of them I had sex with on the first night.
Whoa.
I know. And it's so weird that I did because he totally wasn't my type. But
Don't you think, now why the first night?
Well, I had just gotten out of a relationship.
Sure, and you just wanted to jump right back in.
Shit, and he was like he's such a nice guy, but he was, pretty dorky but we did get along on a certain level. He was a creative person and we got along on that level, but I was kind of just like, I just want to hook up with someone. So we went back, he invited me back to his place. And then I was like, all right, let's just hook up. And then after he goes to me, wow, I feel so used. Because I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And he was like, and I've never done that before to a guy and had them act, like the role was completely reversed. It was a very weird experience.
Was there a second date?
No, but we've stayed in touch. A little.
Okay.
We're friends, but not like in a weird way.
Right.
More like, he'll be a liker on social media every once in a while.
Did you ever read that book, The Rules? It came out 100 years ago.
Is that the one that
It's such an old school book. Listen, this is how old I am. It's a book called The Rules, and it's like, I mean, I'm sure it says don't hook up on the first date. Mm-hmm. It says like don't ever call someone until they call you twice. It's like
that the magician one? Oh no, that's the pickup artist.
That's the one for dudes.
Yeah. The Rules. No, I haven't heard of it.
The Rules, I think, more targets. I don't want to generalize and stereotype, but I think it more is for. I think it's
women?
For women. Yeah.
Well, I will say, like, I wasn't looking for anything with him, so I didn't care about doing that. But what I did notice, as I did want to be in a serious relationship, about the patterns and behaviors that I had to let go, which were things like sending, slutty pictures to guys I barely knew,
sure.
Because they all pass that around, and then they don't take you seriously,
right.
or hooking up with someone on the first date, or oversharing on the first date,
right?
Revealing too much to push people away. Unconsciously,
right?
Things like that,
right?
But I could write my own rule book. I mean, I have a lot of red flags from
it's
dates
so funny.
I've been on.
I'm like a weird. It's so funny. You know how like baby boomers are like the people who were born after World War II, and like it's so funny. They talk about like internet natives, like our children will be like they won't know a world without the internet. Yeah. I'm so old. There was just barely online dating when I met my wife.
Match.com probably was the first one.
It was a dating app, and I had a buddy who was like, you got to get on this.
Yeah.
You go on dates all the time. It's really fun. And it had a stigma to it back then.
What was it? Like it was dorky.
Like it was like I don't need that. I can walk into a bar and I can like get somebody's phone number. But now I can't believe more people just don't date.
I don't
online.
like it. I don't like them. I don't like apps. I don't like websites. They have never made me feel good. A lot of people have no ego about it, which is awesome. And I think like there's no one way to feel about it.
Right, but I'm saying I think all people should meet on apps. That's where people are meeting now.
I think there's something so magical, more special about meeting someone in person and just like having that.
Did you meet your husband in person?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we were best friends first for 3 years. While we had both been in other relationships, we were like super, super close. And then we found a time when we both happened to be single, eventually hooked up, and then everything clicked.
Wow.
Yeah. But like most of my relationships have been meeting people in person and which I think is the best way to do it. It feels like, I don't know, there's something like that just feels like gross and kind of forced with online dating.
I don't, this is where I'm gonna, I mean.
But that's just me.
This is we can debate on the Chelsea Skidmore podcast. I think it's really the only logical way to meet people these days. I just think it's how people meet each other now.
Well, yeah, everything is online. People are very busy, you know.
I don't think people go to bars to meet people anymore. I just don't think it's done.
I wouldn't even know.
I guess people meet each other at holiday parties, but that's only like a few weeks a year. I would if I was single, I would only online date, and I would have like I mean I would have a way I would do it. I would like not like I just meet for like a quick coffee in a public place just so you're not kidnapped or anything, you know?
Because people would be afraid of being kidnapped by you.
Well, not me, but I'm just saying, like, I think anyone, like, just like a quick coffee, because I think you pretty much know when you meet someone whether you want to. I mean, that's the one good thing about only going out with people you meet in person is that you know the second you see them, it's like, oh, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to go on a date
I would
with
never
that
hook
person.
up with this person, or
Well, also, but also,
or like, have a connection, be creeped out.
Yeah, hold on a second. You could like there are like personalities that like you know you might fall in love with someone's personality. That's a possibility.
Yeah,
but you and your husband did it old school.
Yeah, and I like it. And it was better being friends first. That's something I had never done either before. I'd never been friends with someone first, and that made all the difference. Because it's like a lot of people that I've dated before, I thought I liked them, and it's like I didn't even like that person. But you think you do because it's like, no, they're my best friend. It's like, are they? Do you really like this person as a person?
You've been married now for 4 months?
In August, September, October, November. Yeah, 4 months. Thank you.
4 months.
Yeah. What kind of first year dating advice marriage advice?
Marriage advice. Hold off on having kids for as long as you physically can.
How long did you guys wait?
We didn't wait long enough.
Really?
Yeah, we had kids within the year.
Oh, okay.
And it, what's the word? It like ruined our lives.
Well, because you guys probably didn't get to travel much, or
I mean,
like as a single, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was too soon. It was too soon. Now that said, I mean, I don't like them, but I do enjoy my children's company occasionally.
You have
we have 2 girls. We live here in Los Angeles, actually on the outskirts of Los Angeles in a little village called Calabasas, made famous by the Kardashians. And they're really cute. It's really fun.
Did the fires affect where you were?
Yeah, the fires were out there, but luckily they didn't come near our house. Thank God.
Yeah.
But what can I say? My wife and I have been to therapy.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot. Mostly, I got to tell you, I can't believe I'm saying this because it's funny when you go to therapy. It's like, well, she did this and she did this. It was my stuff that I had to work through.
And I can't believe that you can even say that.
It was my stuff.
Because a lot of people can't even look at.
It was definitely my stuff that I had to work through, and it's really good. Therapy.
What have you learned?
I mean. Like in a broad stroke, I've learned fighting gets me nowhere. Like I don't ever want to fight. It's so funny. Like this is how I like to live, like with my wife. at any moment, anytime, we can be totally intimate with each other in a loving manner because we're not fighting. You know what I'm saying? And when you fight with someone, it doesn't go. It's a terrible feeling. It's a nagging. It's anxiety, and I mean, there's always going to be things that you don't agree with.
Last night for my first time, a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, I've realized that we don't always have to agree on things, so sometimes we agree to disagree." And I never knew that concept. And we got in some little argument that I literally can't even remember last night. And I was like, you know what? Just going to agree to disagree. I don't agree with that. And then it was just done. And he was like, oh. And I was like, what just happened? Because I've never.
And you want to know what else is so funny about it is now that I was a little combative when my wife and I first got together. The funniest thing, it's so much cooler to be a non-fight. Look, I mean, I really, at my heart, I just want to be a cool person. I just want to be a cool kid. And if you don't fight, you're so, people really think you're cool, you know? It's always the cool move is to not engage ever.
Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty laid back. Do you think some of that in the earlier stages was just because you didn't have maybe as much experience in relationships?
100%.
Yeah.
I'd never lived with anyone until I met my wife. I had a roommate. Neither. I had a couple roommates, guys.
How was that adjustment?
It was fun. You know, I mean, one thing my wife and I do have is a lot of fun, you know.
Did you date for a while before you moved in together?
Yeah. About 3 years.
Oh, okay. So that's plenty of time.
But and there was a lot of sleepovers, you know. I mean, I definitely had a toothbrush there, a razor, you know, cold cream, nighttime creams,
cold cream, Pond's cream.
Sure, of course. Gotta keep it all looking good. What else did I have there? I'm trying to think. I was going to try to make a joke about exercise equipment. I
had
a
underwear and a t-shirt. So this was in the 90s.
But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story about us is another thing too is I was very close. This is like a weird story, but I was very close to my mom. When I was just close to my mom, I still have a very close relationship with her. But this is something we worked on in therapy. One day, we were in our kitchen, my wife and I. This is post-marriage, and the phone rang, and I hit speakerphone, and it was my mother, who's from New York, and she was like, "So, she let you go to your meeting?" And it was on speakerphone, and I went, "What?" And she went, "She let you go, your wife, to go to the meeting. Jesus, yesterday she wouldn't let you go." And my wife was like right there. And the day before, I always call my mom when I'm driving, you know, "Hey mom, how are you? You still alive? Blah, blah, blah." I give her because I'm usually in traffic and it's I'll give her a half hour, you know. It really makes her day. Look, I mean, come on, it makes her life if I give her a call. The day before, I had to go do something in the morning. And I'm sure my wife at the time was like, "Hey, I have the morning off. Why don't we go out to breakfast or something? And then you can do that in the afternoon." So I had to call up and say, "Hey, can I do that meeting in the afternoon?" And then my wife went, "Oh, actually, I'm going to go to Pilates in the morning, so you can go do that meeting." And so I changed it back to the morning. And it's just it seemed a little flaky of me. I was like, "Oh, can I come back in the time I had? Because my wife is going to go to Pilates and then we'll go out to a later lunch." And I must have complained to my mom about that. And my wife called. Oh, Jesus. My mom said that on the speakerphone, and my wife leaned over, picked up the phone, picked it off the receiver, and went, "I'm right here. I can hear you, Linda. I'm right here."
Were you surprised she did that?
I was like, listen, I was shocked at the whole thing. I was really, I was just like, oh. And so my wife hung up the phone, and she said, "You and I have to go to therapy." And so we went to therapy, and the therapist explained to me that my first complaint in life has to go to my wife.
Ooh.
It can't go to my mom. I can't call any other woman, mommies included, anyone, any other friends, anyone. It has to go right to my wife if I have any sort of issue. After that, I can go to whoever I want. But any issues I have in life pertaining to my relationship with my wife has to go straight to my wife, and I can't be calling my mommy anymore. And it was like an epiphany for me, Chelsea. It really
That's a good piece of advice.
It really helped me out. It really, I mean, it really, it was very eye-opening to me.
Yeah, I like that. So as embarrassing as that moment was with your mom on speakerphone, it reminds me of the same feeling of when you accidentally text someone something that you were talking,
that has happened to me a lot.
Okay,
yeah.
So what's the worst one you got?
Oh, man.
I got a bad one if you want to think about yours.
I can't even. Just tell me yours.
I broke up with a guy, and he was really upset, and we were face-to-face, and he said something about like how he was like so upset or something. And I accidentally texted him, but meant to text my girlfriend. And I was like, oh, he said he's like so upset. Or I don't know, something, I forgot what it was, but it was something really bad. And I was like, he's like acting like such a little bitch or something. And I was like right across from him. And then he looks at his phone and he goes, really? Really? I mean, that was like the most mortifying.
Did he know that you accidentally sent that to him?
Yeah, I meant to send it to a girlfriend.
Did you admit that you accidentally sent it
Obviously,
to him?
it was like we just broke up and he...
Okay, well, here's where you and I differ because I didn't admit that I sent that. Okay, Here we go. Yeah.
You're like, no, that wasn't... But it was from your...
Crazy I am. This is insane. This is an insane story. So I have a very good friend. I saw him yesterday. We're still very good friends, okay? I have a very good friend. Oh, man, this is so embarrassing. I've never actually verbalized this story. And so my face just became 120 degrees. I have a very good friend who, I'm an actor. We established that early on, Jerry O'Connell.
Mr. Jerry O.C. on Instagram.
That's it. Who wanted me to work with him for little to no pay. And it was going to require like traveling and stuff. And he said, hey, so listen, I know there's no pay and everything, but you're doing me a favor and blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, great. I have an agent. You got to go through the agents. And he went, yeah, but can I get a confirmation from you? And I went, it's good with me, but you got to go. I can't book myself. I'm sure you have an agent. Like people have agents. Like they get mad if you book yourselves. So my agent called me up and said, you can't do this. This is no money, blah, blah, blah. I don't want you doing this. And I went, yeah, it's a friend of mine. And they went, look, if it's a friend of yours, we can really like, you can go ahead and do this. But like, I have another gig like that you should be doing like
in place.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, don't do this. And so I was like, okay, then I won't do it. And I called him up and I said, hey man, I can't do it. And he was like, F you, how dare you? You lied to me, blah, blah, blah. You can make this happen. And I said, listen, and I can't, and this is like where my guilt is coming in. In his defense, I could have made it happen, but I got a little angry at him saying that. And, oh man, this is so crazy. I don't talk to him for like a year. He was like a good friend of mine, man.
After that call?
Yeah. Okay. I don't talk to him for a year. Year later, he invites me somewhere. To an event. I said, like, it's sort of like an olive branch thing. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, it'll be fun. We'll go to that. A second later, the same event is happening. Another buddy emails me who has the same first letter in his first name. Okay, that's very important because it's like when you're texting back and forth, it's like similar in the search, in the contact search. Another friend invites me to the same event. And I wrote, oh my God, it's so funny you're asking me to this event. I can't, because that jerk who yelled at me about not doing that stupid job that I was getting paid nothing for, that loser, is just inviting me to the event. And I guess I have to go with him because I said yes. Ugh, kill me now. And I hit send. And it was to the dude.
No.
Yeah.
And then what? How long did it take for him to reply? And did you go to the event?
30 seconds of really like me, like, I was freaked out. I was like,
I'm freaked out.
I was shaking. I was like, oh my God. And I said, he wrote back, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this tonight. And I immediately wrote, oh, no. My therapist says I'm supposed to like get my issues out and like say them out. And that's an issue that I have with you. And I'm supposed to be talking like I'm talking to a third person. And as I get it out, it'll make us feel better, like seeing each other. And he wrote back, no, man, I don't think that's what happened. I think you were texting someone else and you accidentally sent me that text. This is all text. And I went, what? No, it's a therapeutic thing for me to say my feelings out like that. Like you're the person I'm making my complaints to. It's a way to get my resentments and everything out.
Oh my God.
And he was like, yeah, okay, not buying it. And I said, listen, I think we should still go to this. And he was like, yeah, fine, we can go to it. This is like a couple years ago. So we went and we're good now, but that was the worst.
And
story.
How awkward was it when you went together, when you met up?
It was in a weird way. Like I was like so like in a weird way I like didn't care. It's funny. Huh. It's funny how, like, when, like, the truth comes out, it's almost, like, freeing in a weird way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I think I personally would feel so uncomfortable, but I guess if you might shake things off a lot quicker and be like, fuck it.
Yeah, maybe I do. Yeah. And also, I thought my excuse was pretty good as well.
I mean, I would not believe that. But it's creative. It's definitely creative. I don't know if I would have...
Could you have said that to the dude that you sent the text to?
There was nothing I could have said. I was like, yeah, I accidentally. Oh, he was crying. That's what it was. He was crying, and I was like, he's crying right now. I just broke up with him.
See your text, Chelsea.
Yeah, it was mortifying.
Got it.
So
you've always been so difficult. I want you to love me, Chelsea.
I mean, that's exactly what he did say.
Go back to our days when we were driving around in your 2002 Mercedes.
Okay, 230.
Supergas? What do you
Supergas.
Supergas.
Do you have any?
I have one pair, but you know
they're very cool.
They don't look good on me.
Really?
Yeah, skinny little shoes.
No, I think they would.
Skinny little shoes don't look good on me.
Well, you have a Euro look. I hate Converse. Speaking of skinny shoes,
I have Converse that I wear. It's so funny when I try to be cool. Mm-hmm. I'm sometimes not cool enough to pull them off. You
really?
Know? Yeah, I'm just not.
I think they would work with that outfit.
Guy. Yeah, maybe I'll go put them on.
So, can we talk about your childhood?
Yeah,
New York.
Of course.
You're from New York.
Born and raised in Manhattan.
Where'd you live?
17th and 7th, right there in the middle of Manhattan.
Okay.
Really creative area, very gay neighborhood when I was growing up. A lot of fun, Halloweens, a lot of costumes.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Chelsea,
That's where
New
my
York?
family lives.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where your family lives now?
Yeah, 20th and 8th.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's where I went to junior high. You know that school that's right there?
Oh, really? Where is it?
There's a school that they block off on 20th.
Oh, on the right-hand side. That's like closer to that hotel.
It's where I went to. It's where I went to junior high.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. Grew up in that area, really fun. Got a little sad in the mid 80s because a lot of gay people died of AIDS. It was sort of a dark time in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But just a really hip place to grow up. Growing up in New York is great. I almost feel like I'm doing my children a disservice by living in a fancy suburb like Calabasas because they just don't. My kids just don't get it.
Yeah,
they just don't get it.
I feel different coming from New York. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah. But also, like, my kids don't they kind of have attitudes and like they don't like. You know, when you grow up riding the subway, you realize like. Mm-hmm. It's, I don't want to say it's humbling.
Humanizes you.
It humanizes you, and it teaches you to interact correctly with humankind because you're always around it. You know, I mean, it's so funny, and I really think it's as simple as just riding the subway because it's just you know, everyone's equal on the subway, and everyone is going through the same struggles on the subway, and there's no there's no hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, my kids get to be driven around in a 1987 Jaguar from like their dance class to school to their Mary Poppins rehearsal where they see like depressed kids coming out of high school who are couples holding hands and not talking to each other. And it was really cool. I'm really grateful that I grew up in New York.
Mm-hmm. As someone who started out acting when they were a child,
sure.
How do you feel?
For those who don't know, I was in Stand By Me, very famous kids movie.
Yeah.
I was one of the boys, big time child star.
Yeah.
Big time.
How do you feel about them now acting? Are they just being in a play, like just as a kids be in a play, or do they want to be actors? Do they?
I think it's just like they're just little girls and they just want to be in the play and dance around and stuff. It's so funny. One of my kids is a little shy. They're just normally shyer, and one is a little more outgoing. And it was funny. It was sort of me being in Stand By Me was sort of it was a long shot. It wasn't like a child actor coming out to LA auditioning for movies. My father was in advertising. I had been in one of his commercials.
That's how it started.
Yeah, no, I was in acting class. That's how it started.
When you were how
old? 10, 11, 9.
So what made you want
After school, I was in one acting school. And then on the weekends, I was in another acting school.
In New York?
I was just an outgoing kid, yeah.
Where?
At HB Studios.
I went there.
Get out.
When I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, that's just so I jumped because...
Did you go to that Sunday class that Marlene Mancini taught? Because that's the one that I took.
No, I honestly do not remember. It was an older
woman. So were you a
teenager
that was
when
you did
her
it?
Name. Yeah, I was. But I jumped because I never hear anyone talk about HB Studios. It was on 102 Bank Street.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's in the West Village.
And I used to go around the corner to eat at Pepe Rosso.
Sure, it's right there. That Italian place. Now, for those who don't know,
I was 14 when I went there.
HB Studios is a very famous sort of actors workshop. It sort of came up in the 50s when, Brando did not go there, but I don't know for a fact, but it like the Paul Newmans and the Uta Hagens.
I had no idea.
Oh, it's old
I never
school
thought about it
actors.
since then.
It's not the actor studio, but it's old school actors. Herbert Berghoff. It was a real 1950s, like smoking cigarettes and like doing monologues and stuff. It was like a real actors.
I don't even remember what
workshop.
we did. I do Meisner now, which I like.
So now, as a kid, I did that same acting class, and I got to tell you, it's funny. I was always good at it. It's funny. Like some kids are good at football, some kids are good at swimming. I was just always good at it. I mean, you can't tell from this interview, but I was always like,
you're very funny. You're very funny.
I was a personable little kid,
Yeah.
And so when I auditioned for Stand By Me...
Was that the first
movie I ever auditioned for? Sure. I had done commercial auditions.
Mm-hmm.
When I auditioned for Stand By Me, I remember just popping. And I just remember and I remember, it's so funny as like I don't want to say as a performer because that's a little eye-rolly, but as a back then they called it hyperactivity. As a enthusiastic child who yearned for attention, if you did things and adults laughed, man, it's like you're like almost like a laser, like focused on that, and you just like, I just popped, and it was funny. I remember being on set and sort of all that energy and excess energy that at school I was always getting yelled at for, for exuding, I was being rewarded for it on a set. And I really realized at an early age, like I really enjoyed performing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, it's different. I've done theater, but for me, being on a set is like, after Stand By Me, I went to college. I went to New York University. I studied dramatic writing there, but I really sort of got into television after college, and I've been mostly a TV actor since then. And it's what I do best. It's just like TV acting,
Mm-hmm.
just like being on a set, being funny, being loose with lines, doing the lines that are written so that the writer doesn't get upset, but also having fun with whoever I'm acting off of. It's fun. It's a fun way to make a living.
Yeah. So I want to go back a little to Stand By Me. And by the way, you know what my first line to some people were on dating apps?
What?
Can you guess? Inspired by that movie?
Inspired by Stand By Me. Let me guess.
Want to see a dead body? That's from that movie, right?
Yeah. Is that really your line?
I don't know why, but I said that to two guys on a dating app before.
It's really funny.
I don't even know that I've seen the movie, but I know the line.
Yeah, that's it. You want to go see a dead body?
Isn't that weird?
I think it's a really funny...
It didn't work well.
Oh, really?
No, I think it worked for a couple people.
Yeah, I think it's really funny. I would swipe right. Is that how you're supposed to swipe?
No, I didn't write it on the bio, but I wrote it as like a first.
Oh.
But anyways, so when you worked on that movie, I always wondered, like, for child actors, do you memorize all of your lines, or did they tell you the line?
It was super organic, and it's funny because I've directed some Disney Channel stuff, like kids and stuff since then as an adult. But like working with kids is, and I'm sure any educators or anyone who's in kids coaching or something will agree with this. It's about making it fun, and Rob Reiner, who directed that movie, really like made it fun.
Yeah.
And it never felt like work. I mean, now I'm like an old grumpy man who like, trying to retain every word that's in a script. But like back then, it never felt like work. It was really, really pleasant experience working on that movie. And it's a great movie. It's still like people still on social media at Mr. Jerry OC. Say like, hey man, just showed Stand By Me to my kids. Wow, what a good movie. It really holds up.
Yeah. Do you have any early nightmare audition stories?
Yeah, mostly just not being prepared. Mm-hmm. Just not being prepared. Not being prepared. I auditioned for some movie, and it was a big time casting director who was casting it, and I just didn't look at the sides at all for the week that I had them. The sides is the basically the scenes that they give you to audition. They call them sides, and I just wasn't prepared. And when I went in there, I was sort of like goofing off, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" I was just ill prepared. I maybe even had a couple drinks before I went on the audition. It was
you were cocky?
Yeah, it was just all kinds of like, and because I was ill prepared, I was overcompensating. Like, I'm super funny. Look at me, funny guy. And the casting director immediately called my agent and went, I think he had a couple drinks in him. And he was just terrible. He was terrible. He wasn't prepared. He was terrible. And that really woke me up. I after that, I was over prepared for every situation I ever went into. But you sort of have to like. I mean, I know everyone says this, but you have to go through an experience like that to get really better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you never made that mistake again, and
until I did this podcast today. I'm wasted. Let me tell you, Chelsea Skidmore. I saw your pictures from your wedding. I saw them all. You guys look good.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I love you so much.
I'm going to have to call your agent after this and tell him.
Hey, it's Chelsea. Jerry was wasted and ill-prepared for my podcast.
Thank you. Yeah. It's pretty much how it's going to go. So, who are some of your favorite people that you've worked with? And what do you think are some important lessons that you've learned on set from people?
Man, this is going to be pretty random. I did a play with Mr. Alan Rickman. You probably don't even know who he is. You are too much of a whippersnapper, but he played, you know what? I'll put it in terms that you'll understand. He played Professor Snape in the Harry Potter films.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he like the best theater actor?
He is, I believe, the best theater actor. He sadly passed a few years ago, But I did a play with him, and we did close to 400 performances.
Wow.
And before we'd go on stage every night, I mean, it wasn't just him and I. It was 3 other cast members. He would always say, like, he had a great voice, and he was British, and he would always like grab my arm and go, "Remember to breathe." And that really, like, it's so funny. Like, as dopey as this sounds, like, when my kids go do Mary Poppins and they're like up there and they're like 9 years old, I always say, "Girls, remember to breathe." And it's so funny because, as dumb as this story sounds, anything in life is if you're breathing, like, that's really you're gonna get through anything.
Just like, that's it. Sometimes I notice I forget to breathe.
Listen, it like happens. You're like, especially if you're like in a tense situation, like on the Chelsea Skidmore podcast, like, and you want to get a story out where you're like talking, and it's just like, just breathe. I swear I'm not, to your listeners, I'm not like hippy dippy here. I'm not like. But that was really good advice. That was really good advice.
That is good advice.
Remember to breathe. Listen, you're a stand-up. You're on stage a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's like easy to get excited about something, or maybe you're in a situation where someone's like yelling stuff from the back, and it's like getting crazy. It's like, oh, Chelsea, all you got to do is breathe, and you're going to get through it.
Yeah,
you know?
And then you have the control.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Take a moment and just sit in it.
Who else have I worked with? I worked with some famous people.
Yeah, you've worked with a lot of people.
I worked with Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. That was exciting.
What's it like working with him?
He's a big star, man. It's really fun to see. It's he's cool, man. He's super cool. Super nice guy, very caring, but makes everybody feel welcome. He's just got like a magic touch around him. He's cool, super good looking. Just nice. Like you're like relaxed around him. You're like safe. Who else have I worked with? I mean, in terms of like super famous people,
or just any memorable maybe experiences that you've had working with people that makes you think of.
I mean, I hate to talk about it, but like, I guess Stand By Me was like the most fun. I mean, you're a kid. There's like nothing to lose. It's not like work, you know. I just did a movie called The Secret based on that book, The Secret.
Really?
You know, where you like envision things.
Huh.
And I worked with Katie Holmes in that. Mm-hmm. And she was amazing. Really amazing. I don't know. Did you watch Dawson's Creek when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did.
She's a great actress, man.
And I noticed that you wrote a screenplay that she was in.
That's 100% right.
What made you write?
I wrote a script called First Daughter that she was the star of. I mean, I just wrote. It was very exciting, but I mean, I was just the writer, so I wrote a couple of drafts.
That was such an interesting idea, though. I don't want to say it was random,
right.
But I was like, I wonder, like, what made him want to write that.
I'm going
to tell you. Know what I mean?
No, I'm going to tell you
in a nice way.
I'm going to tell you what made me write it. I went to the Sky Bar one night, which is a famous bar here in Los Angeles, across the street from where we were doing the Chelsea Skidmore podcast. You can follow her at Chelsea Skidmore.
Thank you.
And it's like a hip LA bar, or at least it was in my day.
Yeah,
I don't know how hip it is now. It's sort of a touristy bar.
Yeah.
But back in my day, it was like sort of the spot. And I went there on a Friday night, and it was packed. And I met the Bush twins, George W. Bush's daughters, who were of college age.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they were there. They were over 21. Everything was on the up and on the up. But they were there, and I partied with them. Nothing crazy. We had a couple drinks, had a lot of fun with them. And they were sort of the belles of the ball, so they were like getting a lot of attention there. And they were with like a sort of a guy who was my height, maybe bigger than me. And I was like, "Hey, so you with the girls?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I went, "You're coming up from Texas." I think at the time they went to or just graduated. One of them went to or just graduated Texas, which is in Austin. And I was in my 20s, and so he was like, "Oh yeah, we came up from Texas, but I'm bouncing all over the place." And I went, or are you not at school? And he went, I'm not at school, man. And I was like, how do you know the girls? And he went, I'm working, man. And I went, working at what? And he went, I'm their security detail. I'm Secret Service. And I couldn't believe, I thought he was one of their friends. Yeah. And like I noticed there was like Secret Service around them, and they were not partying, but they were like blending in. And they always had an eye on those girls. And I literally went home that night and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's a scene. That's an opening scene to a movie right there. I love that. And so I wrote the first script. They call it a spec script, the first version that gets bought. And it was really funny because I went to NYU. So I thought it would be funny if that guy, let's say the first daughter went to an art school. Okay. On the East Coast, I guess it would be
Bard.
What's the one that Lena Dunham went to? Bennington.
Oh, Bennington. Yeah.
So like Bennington.
In Vermont.
I was like, what if the first daughter went to Bennington? Okay. And what if that dude I met, who was definitely in the service, jacked, like I was just talking to a big guy who had a short haircut. I was like, what if they made, and that girl didn't want Secret Service, was like, we're going to Sky Bar, don't hang around me. And I did not witness the Bush girls do this, but like I noticed they were keeping a discreet distance from them. And I was like, how funny would it be if the first daughter was like, I'm going to Sky Bar, don't mess with me, like I don't want you like messing with my game. I need to live my life. So if someone went to Bennington, a first daughter, and was like, I don't want anyone there. I'm going to art school. I'm an artist. I don't want people following me around. And they were like, well, you have to have security. And they were like, no, I don't. I don't want security. And they were like, no, you have to. Your father's a president. This is like an international security thing. Well, then I'm not going to college. And what if they lied to that girl and made one of these army people enter into art school? And then when he goes to art school, he learns, oh my God, maybe I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying? But he has to lie.
So funny.
And at first, she's like, this guy sucks at art. He's terrible. Who is this dork? Get that dork away from me. And he has to follow her. And she's viciously mean to him because he's not a good artist and not one of the cool kids and probably doesn't do drugs and she's viciously mean to him. But he still has to keep showing up. And she's like, why is this loser always around me? But then they weirdly form a relationship, and he still hasn't told her that he's her security. So that was like the idea for the script. That. I know. It was
That's
a really
very creative.
Script. Yeah, I thought it was really funny.
Have you?
And it was all from that night of going to that bar, literally 50 yards from where we're doing this podcast.
How did you go home that night or the next day?
Home that night
and started. Were you inspired to start?
Yeah. I went to New York University Film School. I graduated from their dramatic writing department. And I'm always sort of writing something. I recently wrote a Hallmark film.
Oh, awesome.
A Christmas movie. Get ready for this, Chelsea. Ooh. I hope you're holding on to something. It's called 12 Days. Uh-huh. It's about a young lady who works for a Walmart-type corporation and has to travel to a small town to convince the town that they should allow a fulfillment center to be in their small, very kitschy town.
What's a fulfillment center?
Like a large, like a big place where they, like a big like shopping mall.
Oh, okay.
Like a big like Walmart, Amazon fulfillment center, like a big store.
Oh, I get it. Bringing the big corporation to a small town. Okay.
And the small town doesn't want to bring it. They think it'll hurt their town, and she has to go there. And while there, she learns the true meaning of it's a Hallmark Christmas movie. The
and
true
does
meaning
she fall
of Christmas
in love?
And stuff. She falls in love.
In 12 days.
In 12, actually, she's supposed to travel there, and what happens is it's like planes, trains, and automobiles. She travels with a man who's also going there, to like sort of talk to the city and the mayor and stuff who are blocking the thing coming, and so they go through this whole like harrowing detail, this harrowing trip, like planes, trains, and automobiles. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Yeah,
where
I did.
They just can't get home. And she just has to go there for work. And when she gets there, she realizes the guy she's been traveling with is the mayor of the town. And it's just like little like Oh, I hope I didn't spoiler alert the film I just sold to Hallmark.
Oh, no. Did you shoot it?
No, we haven't shot it yet. But
well, it's very cute.
There's always a twist in those things. But it's really fun to write. I mean, you're writing these days?
Yeah.
Mostly for yourself?
Writing something. I mean, I write stand-up, yeah, but also working on pilots and shorts and stuff. And
tell us about that process.
It's it's always like coming up with like an idea that you get excited about, is a process in itself. But then once I get super excited about something, I'm very addicty.
Do you write by yourself?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have written some stuff with other people, some pilots with some other girls, but I think I do prefer to write by myself in the end.
Why?
Because I don't want to say I'm a control freak, but like it's uncomfortable if I don't think something is funny to have that like. Yeah. I don't love that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I get it.
I like to fully
I actually should say that Hallmark thing, I wrote it with an actress named Jess McCallan, who I worked with on an ABC show.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's really fun working with somebody.
It is, too, because if you find the right person, you can bounce stuff off and be laughing the whole time.
Well, a couple things happen is, first of all, it makes you work. Because when you don't have like a deadline or anything, it's like, what's the point? Why am I even here?
I used to have that problem, but now that I really like writing a lot more and I've gotten used to it, I can knock stuff out by myself a lot faster. Because sometimes you have to like wait for other people's schedules and they don't want to. It just depends. I've written with 2 different people, but it is fun writing with someone else because you have a better idea of what, if this is funny or not, or because otherwise I'm like asking my husband, do you like this? Do you like this? And he's like, okay, no, I'm busy right now. So you just have to, trust and send notes to other people. But yeah, I love writing. And then I guess we can kind of just wrap up. Christmas is coming up.
Christmas has happened.
What?
No, isn't this coming out after Christmas?
Comes out next week. What is that?
I think it's like a post-Christmas thing, isn't it?
It's a post-Christmas thing, but do you have any traditions with your family? Spending the holidays?
No, spending them here. Yeah, it's fun having a family. I mean, you'll see someday. It's like that's what it's all about. It's it's funny. It's just making a fun, safe environment for your kids. It's for the kids.
Do you dress up like Santa?
I did. I went to some charity thing where I dressed up as Santa.
No, but at home to like surprise your.
Once I went to my kids' school dressed as Santa. My kids were in preschool, and it's so funny. Like one of my daughters who's in preschool was like, your hands are like my dad.
Are you serious?
Yeah, isn't that so funny? And my kid was like 3.
Oh my God.
You have Santa. Your hands are like my dad's. And then they'd like sort of look at me through the beard and stuff. And I could tell they were like starting to put it together. And I was like, get out of here.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Very observant.
But just like buying stuff. I just ordered a sweet water pick thing for my wife, a dental thing.
What is? Oh, is that the teeth whitening?
Water floss.
Sweet water. Oh, like just like good tasting floss.
It's like water pick floss.
Okay.
Like it's like it shoots water in your gums.
Oh.
Her dentist told
like
her she needed it.
Like in the chair.
In the chair, but it's like a portable one at home. Her dentist said she needed it.
What is that for?
I don't know. She sent me a link and she went, "It would be great if Santa got this." And I was like, okay. Found one with sort of free shipping.
God, you have the most accurate impressions. I love flossing, by the way. I'm obsessed with it.
Really?
Do you have any OCD things?
I don't like flossing because do you floss till you bleed?
No. When people bleed, it's because they're not flossing enough.
Okay, so do you use that like weird like harp thing?
I use the string. I don't use the picks.
You don't use the picks?
No.
You use the string. Flavored string?
Mint.
Mint? Do you use like just a string one, or do you use the flat, like little? It almost looks like a little ticker tape, like
the thing that comes out of the.
Well, no, there's 2 types of floss now. There's like the flat, sort of almost like a tiny ribbon.
Oh yeah.
Or the actual waxy, like.
I don't like the waxy. Ribbon. I don't like the texture. I mean, I like the glide, smooth, mint.
Do you just do in between your teeth, or do you actually like scrape the front of your teeth?
Oh. I just do in between
your teeth. Do you get every single in between every single tooth?
No, I'm only doing it on the top teeth pretty much.
Why are you neglecting your bottom teeth, Chelsea?
Because they'd bleed.
Let me tell you something.
And there's the truth.
Chelsea, if you ignore your teeth, they'll go away.
Fuck. Any weird things that you have?
Oh, man. Yeah, I have a couple tics. This is pretty funny. I have a tic where if I go under a yellow light in the car, I always scratch my roof.
Really?
Yeah. I do suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
Great book out there called Brain Lock. Brain Lock.
That's so funny you say that.
Why?
Because my husband does a motivational character, and he like a fake Tony Robbins thing, and he has this thing called Brain Lock 2020 that he's always promoting. This,
there was a book that actually that same couples therapist that my wife and I went to said, "Hey man, you should check out this book called Brain Lock."
Okay.
And that's what the therapist said to me, and I read it, and it really helped me out. But I do have an OCD thing, and it does come in superstition, where if I see a penny on its head, I have to pick it up, no matter where I am. I mean, even if I'm it gets kind of embarrassing. Sometimes I'll be it typically only happens in New York because you're walking down the street, but I'll be in a meeting, and usually sometimes it'll be hey, let's walk to 55th Street. And I once I was with my boss, my big boss, and we were walking 2 blocks to go to another meeting, and there was a penny with its head up in a dirty puddle.
No.
And I was standing there, and I was I can't do this. My boss is really very intelligent woman, very very straight, and just she's this is what we need to do in this meeting. We need to go in there. We need to convince these 3 people. I need you. I'm going to come in with the first bit. And so we were standing at the don't walk thing, and I saw the penny, and I was oh God, don't do it, Jerry. Just let it go. And I was no, but I have to, or else it'll be bad luck when I go in this meeting. And then, so I have to do it for luck. And then, don't pick it up. So I was all right, just let her go a couple paces, and then I'll quickly pick it up, in the puddle. And so the light changed, and she started to go, and I quickly got out of her eyesight, and I bent down, and I went to pick it up, but I was fumbling with it, and then I had to put both hands in the puddle, in the dirty, oily, probably urine infested puddle. And I picked it up, and I got the penny. And at that point, she had stopped halfway through the crosswalk and turned around. And she went, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Oh, nothing." And she went, "No, what were you just doing?" And I went, "It's nothing. It's a thing that I have." And she was like, "What is it? What did you just do?"
In that tone?
Yeah. And I was I have a thing about pennies. I have to pick them up, and I have to pick them up. I'm so sorry. I didn't. Just please continue on. I didn't want to not pick it up before we go in our meeting. And she went, You just dug through that puddle to pick up that penny. And I went, I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's like a curb thing.
And she never I could tell she just didn't.
She didn't get it.
Not only did she not get it, I don't think she I don't believe she touched me after that. Ever.
Oh my God. Wow.
So yeah, I have that thing. What else do you want to know about Chels? I'm kidding.
No, I love it. I don't know. I think that's pretty good.
Long-time fan, Chelsea. I've actually known you for a while now. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you very much.
Looks amazing on Instagram, and I can say to everyone listening, it's amazing in real life as well.
Thank you so much for coming on. And then people can find you again on Instagram at Mr. Jerry OC.
Yeah.
And guys, it had been Christmas since after listening to this, so Merry Christmas.
Happy Boxing Day. That's the day after Christmas.
Oh, okay. And yeah, see you guys soon. Thank you.